Okay, here is card number 2. I really like this card. I like how it's using non-traditional Christmas colors. I actually saw this card, a similar card to it on Pinterest, and I just sort of put my own spin on it. So everything is cut up for you, put in your bundle. There are a couple of things that I just wanted to show you what we're using. This label here is part of the Stitched So Sweetly set. So you've got your rectangle, your scalloped rectangles that are stitched, and as well as these variety of labels that are stitched. So kind of neat. It's kind of a neat piece that they come together and that you can kind of mix and match. So that's in the annual catalog. I just wanted to show you that. As well, this large silver foil star is from the Stitch Stars. So this is also in the annual catalog. Lots of variety of stars, lots of different ways of using them, little decorations to put in between. So it's really kind of a neat die set to have. So the inside of this card, this is where I'm using So Many Stars stamp set, where I've got my sentiment. So this is where you're going to bring in your own sentiment for the inside of this card, or you can decorate it however you want. This stamp set is actually retired. In the last catalog, these two were bundled together. This stamp set actually is retired, but the stars are still available. So just thought I would point that out before we began. So yeah, so let's talk about the colors that I'm going to be doing with this. So I have Bermuda Bay, Coastal Cabana, Balmy Blue, and as well as Pacific Point. Something to keep in mind, Bermuda Bay and Coastal Cabana are very similar. So if you don't have both, if you have Bermuda Bay, you can actually just stamp off and get a lighter version. And you could do the same thing with Coastal Cabana. It'll just be a little bit lighter. The Pacific Point, again, if you don't have Pacific Point, you could do Night of Navy, any other kind of blue, sort of a darker or vibrant blue that you have will work. And again, even the Balmy Blue, you can just kind of play around with that. The other thing that I will be doing, and again, this is optional, is I have my Coastal Cabana blends, and that's just to give this little bit of splatter. I told you that I'm back on my flicking because I actually really like it. So I just have a little bit on the front, a little bit on the inside, and then as well I just went to town on the envelope. So if you don't have the blends, you also could use the markers. So if you have the Stampin' markers, the actual just regular markers, those will work too with the same flicking concept. If not, I mean, you could just stamp some of the leaves, or you don't have to have the flicking at all. So I just wanted to point that out. What else? Oh, there's one more product. So this sheet here, this piece is already embossed for you by the, I think it's called the Handwritten embossing folder. Really pretty, just sort of adds a nice little element to the background. So that's already done for you, and all your cutouts are done. And yeah. And so we're just gonna start. Let's just start making this. So here is your bundle. So we can fold your card first. Here we go. And you'll notice that this is actually a little bit quieter. Two reasons: my dogs are not playing right now. But I also, yesterday was really cold, and I had my little Dyson heater on. And so when I listened to the video, I could hear it in the background. So hopefully that wasn't too annoying for you, but I feel like this one will be a little quieter. So just put on a nice thick sweater, and hopefully I don't have to turn that on. Anyway, so here is this. I always like to do my stamping first. So let's do that. We don't need our envelope right yet. So we have this and this, and the piece for the inside, we could, for some reason I don't have my piece cut again. I did that the second time. And so this is for your inside. So these we can just kind of put it off to the side so they don't get stamped on. Let's do this, and let's stamp on these first. So yeah, there's not actually a lot of stamping happening for this one. So with your Pacific Point, you're just going to stamp Joy. Okay, and hopefully my head doesn't go, but I need to be able to try to get this in there. There we go. And because it's a solid stamp, I like to just kind of hold it a little bit longer, just so the ink can kind of marry into the, or soak into the cardstock. There we go, and beautiful. Like, I love it. I love how solid that is. For now, that's all I need to do with this. Okay, so we have our joy. On here is the sentiment to the world. And I used Bermuda Bay. And, whoops. Won't really matter. I'm going to be cutting it out. Again, this is a solid one, so I like to make sure that all the ink is going to be absorbed. I'm not sure if I like that one. Let me do it again so I have an option. That's why I always give you a nice long piece so you have an option. There, I like that second one better. There we go. Okay, so those two things. And then you have another large piece. Now I'm going to use just some of my scraps that I have, but I gave you a nice big piece. So make sure that you're stamping on the right one, because you have a what is this? A 4 by 5 1/4 that goes in the center, and then you have a big piece. I think it's 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. I just actually quartered my cardstock, and that's for you to do all these little leaves. Okay, and yes, you are gonna fussy cut them, which I probably should have already fussy cut, shouldn't have I? Anyway, well, let's just see. Hopefully I'll be able to zip through the cutting, and then you won't have to sit there and watch me cut. But so I have 3 of these. And again, you can any combination, just because I did 3 of these. Like, it looks like I did 3 of this leaf and only 2 of the other one. So you could, you know, switch it up if you want. Okay, so 3 of that leaf in the Pacific Point. So let's just move that out of the way. Then I have, oh no, I don't need Bermuda Bay yet. Coastal Cabana. We're gonna do two of these. 1 and 2. Do I use any inside? No. So you could actually do extra ones if you wanted to put some on your inside. Okay, so that's Coastal Cabana for that leaf. And then Balmy Blue for this last one. And again, I just have 2 of them. What is that on my, okay. And there we go. 2 of those. Okay. Perfect. So actually that paper I gave you is, I didn't even need these ones. That piece of paper I gave you is lots and lots of space for you to do that. So we are just going to fussy cut, and I am sorry that I didn't already cut these out, but I guess, you know, while you can be cutting them out while we're chatting, while you're making this. So just kind of, doesn't have to be perfect. I like to leave a little bit of a trim around it. Just try to make it even. There we go. You don't need to go too close. You don't want this to be annoying. So they actually cut out really simply. There's one. Let's put that in there. And you guys know I always have this little garbage on my desk, so I can put the little pieces of garbage. I actually have a big garbage beside me that for the larger pieces, but when they're just little, I just kind of pop them in this little pail. I think it's handy to have it on your desk. Okay. It'd be nice if there was a punch or if there was a die cut, but as I said, it's not It's not actually difficult cutting them out. So there we go. I actually really think these shades of greens and blue just kind of look really nice together. Oh, a little bit close there. That's all right. Life will go on. So you do want to make sure you have a nice little fine tip pair of scissors. These ones, you know, oops, they are not Stampin' Up. They are Martha Stewart. But I actually, literally today, just ordered the fine tip paper snips from Stampin' Up. So I'm hoping that they are also nice and fine. But these are really good, and I got these from Michaels. So FYI. But you know, as scissors go, once they get dull, then what do you do with them? You keep having to replace them. There must be a way of sharpening your scissors. I just don't know it. Okay, and there we go. You know, don't even have to really worry too much about the ends because those are going to be covered up by the star. So don't worry about it. Okay, so I'm almost there. Are you cutting along with me? I hope so. I guess if I had pre-cut them, then you would have to pause the video, right? So, which is not a bad idea either. I'm sure that's how you do it too if I go too quickly for something, or maybe you fast forward because I'm being annoying. I have no idea. Okay, so there we go. Just 2 more. So, you know, doesn't take that long. It's good. Well, and it's funny because when I make these videos, I feel like I need to talk all the time because otherwise it's just quiet, right? Like, I mean, I guess I could put some music in the background, but you also need to hear me sometimes talk. So I know the one time Parker, she listened and she was like, do you ever stop talking? But when I stop, it feels really silent. So I tend to talk a lot. Here we go. So yeah, so not tricky to cut them out. There we go. Kind of screwed up that little ending, but that's okay because you're not going to see it anyway. Okay. That's all the cutting. Perfect. So that can be moved in here. And I don't know if I've showed you this before, but I love this. This is actually, I got it from Amazon, and it's supposed to be a makeup brush holder. And I just use it to put my scissors and my, what do you call it? My bone folder and my take your pick tool. And then I just have a roll of my glue dots just kind of sitting there on a pen, so they're handy dandy. And so I just have that on my desk, and I love it because I like my area to be nice and organized. Okay, so that is all the stamping. So let's, I mean, there is stamping to do on the inside, but we'll do that after. Let's put the front of our card together. So here we are. So we're gonna adhere that. So we've got our Tombow. Now, because it's embossed, you do want to make sure that you put lots of Tombow on it so that the glue can get in all the little grooves, all the little handwriting. Okay, and let's just center that. There we go. Make sure your edges are nice and down. Nothing worse than when your card starts to lift up. Okay, so this piece, I kept the stars attached because I ended up putting them on the inside. So you can kind of punch them out if they haven't already come apart, but they should be, all these little pieces should be in your package. So some of them are obviously garbage, but here we go. This is where I would actually use my take your pick tool, but they're actually coming out actually without it. But there's this little guy. Are you gonna come out? No. So I'm gonna need to get this There we go. Got them all. Okay. And all I did was, this is just going to go on a slant. And so I'm just going to put a couple of glue dots. Oh, did I just get one? Couple of glue dots. And just kind of put it on an angle on your card. There we go. Okay. And I didn't worry about adhering those. I kind of thought it looked kind of neat that it was lifting up a little bit, but if you want to put that down, you could use a little bit of your fine tip glue or your Tombow, whatever you want, which my Tombow is opened. Okay. So what did I do next? Okay, so think about that your star is going to go here, and I have this popped up. So these guys are going to go, right, just randomly. You do want to make sure that you're going to be able to not see your ends. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm not sure if I did that when I made it, but let's put a couple, let's just put a couple of these dimensionals. Here, let's do this. This is going to sound a little confusing right now. So we're going to put just a couple of dimensionals in the center. We're going to go back and we're going to be able to add them up to the sides. But let's just add this because then I think it'll be easier to tuck in. There we go. So that's there. We might not even need to add anything. And so we're going to tuck these in and we're going to use glue dots. So I just used one here, and let's just, then this way you won't be able to see the ends, right? So let's get him kind of there. Oh, did he not pick up? He did not. Okay, here we go. Oh, again. There we go. Okay, so he's there, and let's put this guy here. Okay. So we're gonna put him right about, you want to make sure he's not tucking off here, and this one. That way you can, yeah, tuck them all in. There we go. And let's add this one. And this one. Okay. All right. Coming together. And did I put dimensionals on that? I did. So this is going to get popped up also. So let's do that. Okay, and it is actually getting cold in here. My fingers are starting to go white and numb. It's freezing in here. We haven't actually turned the heat on yet. I think we're going to have to. But I am going to have to, my next video might be a little bit noisy because I'm going to have to put my heater on. There we go. So how do I feel about those? Do I have ones? I did put some in there. So if you, I mean, it's up to you. I don't know. I don't think you actually need to have, I think it's fine. I think they're going to hold up. So if you wanted to, you could tuck in a little bit if you're worried about that getting squished, but I don't think it's going to. I think it's fine. But I don't want this sticking up so much. So I'm just going to add a little bit, very carefully, and maybe a little here too. Okay. And I just don't want it sticking up so much. Oh, so I gotta like hold it and sing a song or something. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, I like that. You know, it's still not all down, but I didn't like it popping up so much. Okay, so there's that. And now let's cut our Joy to the World. These ones I love. I mean, they're so easy to cut. There we go. So this is your fussy cut card. There we go. Yeah. Okay, get that out of the way. And those. And I'm just going to put a little bit of Tombow on here. Now, if you were going to spritz it, you would want to spritz. You don't want to spritz with the silver on there, right? So I think I did spritz this, but I think I only spritzed the back, the bottom piece. And then when I added everything, I just, you know, because it would get all cloudy and not look all that great. So we're going to do this. How do I have that? There we go. Joy to the world. I just love it. And it actually does come together really quickly. The last thing you're going to add are some gems. Here we got this package that is opened. So let's add some gems. Oh, no, I might be able to use that. So I've got one that I put in this star, the large one. And then I did the medium. Okay, let's do the medium over here. And then I did a small one just over here, just to give it a little bit of glam. Okay, so that is your card. So it does come together quickly. So if you were gonna make several of them, you would just like stamp a bunch of the leaves and you could just sit there and just cut away. You could listen to music or watch a show or whatever, but this is cute. So even though, so I didn't spritz it before, so I might try to like cover this and kind of spritz it around it a little bit because I tend to like that shimmer, but you know, it's up to you. So let's do the inside. So, whoopsies, there we go. Let's do the inside. So I'm going to use the Pacific. And so again, this is where you're going to use your own sentiment. But this one kind of worked with it because I had it. So let's, hoping all your wishes come true. All your Christmas wishes come true. Cute. Okay, and I did these little stars in the background. I just thought it kind of went with it, but and maybe some of you have this set actually, because it was from the catalog last year. So maybe you already have it. Okay, so that's a little darker. It looks like I stamped off, but that's fine. It works. And then I did think it was kind of a neat idea to add these stars for the front, or for the inside. So this one we can add there. Oh, you really want to make sure if you're going to use glue dots that that it's not poking out, because it will not be good for the inside. It'll close it, right? So we're going to use these. I think I'm going to do this, but these ones I'm going to use Tombow because they are much smaller. So I'm going to add one here and I'm going to add one here. Okay. And there we go. And there we go. It just dresses it up. So no matter what sentiment you use, those little stars will just kind of tie in the front, what you've done in the front. So that's the intention. So we'll just glue this in. And I'm realizing, as I already glued this in, that I did not do my, I didn't do my flicking. So, and I didn't do my flicking on the inside, and I really don't want any flicking on here. So here's what you can do. Get a piece of paper. I'm going to cover that. There we go. I'm going to cover that, and I'm going to take my my blend, my Coastal Cabana blend, and I'm just going to, I just wanted a little bit. There we go. Let's see. Yep, I just wanted a little bit just to add a nice little contrast. I went that way. This way I went the other way. So, okay. And then on the inside too. So let's just, actually I'm going to do my lighter one. just to give it that little bit of, gives it something with that little bit of flicking. Okay, so there is your card. So let's do the envelope. I'm going to show you how I did this. Very simple, obviously. And again, when I do this, I don't want it on here. Now it might go on it a little bit, but what you do is just take a piece of, this is just a piece of copy paper. Okay, and I'm just gonna lie it there and cover the the big portion of the envelope, kind of right to the edge. I'm gonna do a little bit over the edge, in case any decides to seep over. Okay, and you're just gonna flick, flick, flick. I just thought it kind of was a neat way of decorating your envelope, because of course you can't have a naked envelope. So I'm just doing the two-tone, but if you're using your markers, you could use your Bermuda Bay marker as well as your Coastal Cabana. You could use one of your blues, like, you know, whatever you have. But it's kind of a neat, and sometimes it's hard to stop. Okay, we're gonna stop. So move that, and there we go. So just kind of a nice way to add to your card. So there it is. There's your card number 2. Okay.